Greetings, intrepid viewers. It's your roving correspondent. Here I am, moving slowly around the flat, giving you different things to look at, I hope. This is artwork by my Cook Island brother-in-law, who has now passed, sadly, but he was a wonderful carver and painter. Love him, miss him. Now, moving on. As we absorb the punches that are coming with the Mueller report and the Barr redactions, he deserves no mercy, does he not? I thought we've all sort of skimmed over the fact Mueller, who did do his job very thoroughly under difficult circumstances and then was stopped at the gate, there's these 12 outstanding investigations. There are 14 all up, but we know one involves Cohen and one involves someone else, Craig, somebody or other. But we know nothing about the other 12. So I thought, let's have a little look. It's kind of hard to read on something like 12 separate investigations, but I wanted to get a flavour of what we can expect from these other investigations that will unfold. So let's have a look. Have you noticed, viewers, more and more criticism of Trump and more criticism of Barr? I saw an interesting piece in today's New York Times. You know, we've got the impeachment versus the non-impeachment argument going on. If anyone was impeachable, it was Trump. You would have thought under normal circumstances, but we're not in normal times. So this person, I think it was an opinion piece, was saying why the best angle for the Dems would be to not impeach, in his view, was if he hangs around until the election and then falls over, the damage he will do could destroy the Republican Party into the future. So if you're really disturbed and distracted and worried by this lack of separation of church and state, or you have your own reasons to not be happy with Republicans' profit before people ideology, and if you're not entirely happy with how they're handling the climate crisis, as in making it worse, it's worth thinking about. Food for thought. But that was an early digression. Let's look now. Give me a moment to concentrate. I'm using the Japaridze deck. Very pretty cards. And they probably don't deserve pretty cards, but I hadn't used them for a while and I had a bit of an itch. So I thought, let's use the Japaridze and see what's happening with these 12 mystery investigations. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's have a little look here. So I think my first question is, will these investigations have enough weight to have some impact on Trump? So how important are they, or are they all about people we've never heard of? You know, because with all the indictments that have gone down, there's been 36 indictments. Some bite more than others, some cut into the public consciousness more than others. So my question is, will these investigations have some weight? Have some cut through. Oh, Lordy. That's very, 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 very big and decisive cards here, viewers. Look, this has picked me up no end. I thought I'd need another coffee, but no. In the middle, the death card, the complete end of a cycle. All right? The complete end of a cycle. The rebirth, the death card. What's behind it? This is the pressure building. This is the volcano. Lordy. I watched Tarot's Apprentice. I love him, and he has a wonderful phrase, Lord, have all the mercies. And I found myself saying it. I didn't want to take it on. So sorry, Johnny, I couldn't help myself. I've picked it up from listening to you. Then we have the Hermit card. In retreat, what people are doing behind the scenes. It's also illuminating what happens behind the scenes, but this is deeply buried stuff. So I think Muller's travels through the netherworld of the finances of Trump and the cohorts has led him onto a trove of dirt, an absolute trove. Then the Eight of Tides or the Eight of Cups walking away, this could push someone of significance out. Either Trump or some other high players will be affected by that outcome. I promise I didn't rig the cards. Three of Wands, Three of Swords, piercing in the heart. So this is an interesting deck. It has a totally different tone and flavour to the Rider-Waite. But this particular layout, with this particular question, is saying, yes, it's possible it has fatal consequences. I'm not saying literally fatal, but I wouldn't rule out. There was that Republican who actually had done so many horrifying things, or was he a Republican hack, who was, excuse me, can we stay a bit quieter? The house is busy. It could possibly indicate a suicide of someone who's involved. I don't like to project in that way, but I also equally can't rule it out. It's so profound to have it in the center of what is a very sort of almost savage reading, you'd have to say, with that. So that's the general question answered. I'll put these back. And the searing question, of course, is, will it affect the man who is illegally occupying the White House? That absolutely scurrilous scumbag, sleazebag, everything that ends in bag. The corrupt, pathological president. Will it impact Trump? Will any of these investigations really impact Trump? Not just cause a bad day, really impact Trump. Three of Wands again. The World. The Tower. Goodness me. The answer to this is one of the reasons I think tarot helps keep us sane in these very volatile times. By going forward a bit, we can take comfort from the legal process in a way that's really hard to do when it's actually happening, and it's inching out, and it saps us of energy and concentration and joy. It's important to remember these legal things. In the middle, the Page of Pentacles, news about money. Also a slight clown-like quality, which would suit the Yeti. So, again, it's almost got hair like the Yeti. So that's in the center. It is going to impact on him financially and incur loss. It is also a stab to the heart. It's a stab to the heart. We all think that he didn't have a heart, but we were wrong. He's got just enough heart to be upset by some of these revelations. I think these revelations may involve family members. They certainly involve the world. So that's playing with the Russians, playing with the Qataris, playing with the Golden Orb set. right? The world. And I think this is going to have a huge impact because the world is a big card for obvious reasons. It also, like the death card, it's often the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. But in this, I think it's the global connections. And Trump Tower going up in flames, seeing he was too stingy to put in fire, sprinklers and things. Who knows? There might actually be a fire in Trump Tower of some sort, but that's the tower in the Japaridze deck. I'll just let you observe that image, right? So it mightn't be all of these 12, of course, but one of them or more of them is going to impact very directly on him. Okay, now, just before that, I'm going to ask one more. We know tarot's not brilliant with timelines, but is this going to come out before the end of the year? Is it going to come out before the end of the year? Okay. We, as insane observers of this madness, we need a bit of a win. So I certainly hope it's going to come out before the end of the year. These things do take a long time. As I understand it, these 12 are ongoing investigations. They're not the sealed indictments. Remember, there are many of those too. So this is why Trump, of course, will not resign, because he knows the minute his toenail is out the door, it's all going to descend. Right. So the question right now is, will it be before the end of the year? Spirit, help. Before the end of the year or not? Six of Wands. Four of Gardens. Holding on. Six of Cards. I'm not getting a strong time feel from this. There's 2 sixes. In tarot, anything that's happening happens between a 2, which is the beginning, and 10s that are the end. It could mean that we're about at the 6 now. It could be the 6th month, or it could be we're in the middle of this process. Oi, oi, oi! Working woman. All right. Okay, so it's rush hour here, as you can see. All my nephews are coming home, and I have a lot of nephews. Right. So, 6 of Wands or 6 of Swords, the albatross. So, these albatross-like figures, they are the harbingers for what's going to happen here. We have the 4 of Pentacles. In this deck, the puppeteer. Who is controlling the puppet? And it sure as hell isn't Bar. Bar's had his moment in the sun. He's destroyed as much of the Constitution as he could in a fortnight, which is 2 weeks. We use the term fortnight. He's lost his power. Trump is a bully who abuses power, but he's not that strong. This could be Mullah from the sidelines. He started this and set it in motion, or it could be a legal figure who's going to control these puppets. My feeling, what I'm hearing, is the Republican puppets. They still have strength on their side. A lot of people will stay with them regardless, but in this deck, as you'll notice, the female figure normally in the strength card is taming the beast. In this deck, I think that's why I chose these cards, just for this card tonight in this reading, she's leaping from the lion. Oh, it could be Hope Hicks. Now, Hope Hicks had an extraordinary and intimate relationship with the Yeti, By intimate, I'm not suggesting they actually did it. What I am saying, that I've read about in several quarters, she would look after his grooming at the last minute and would steam his pants. This would mean, before he got off the plane, she would be on her knees at the level of the crutch of the Yeti, steaming its pants. But I'm sure she had something else to talk about apart from that. And I'm getting a strong Hope Hicks vibe here. This is going back to a simpler time and place. Right. So I asked for a timeline. I can't say I got it. I'm going to roll with this 6 and that 6 to say 6 is involved. It'd be wonderful if it was June, but it could be 6 months from now. Yeah. So I'll try again to narrow down the timeline for you. But I think what has come across quite strongly in these cards is these other cases are important. They're not just about obscure bankers from Belgium or certain unpronounceable Russians. It is going to have an impact. That's how I see it for now. Love you guys. Be with you soon. Bye. I've got to get back to my auntie duties.